Hey everyone, welcome to the final part of my game room tour for 2024. Today we're going to be taking a look at all of my Sony games, at least as far as the PlayStation 3, because this is a retro dedicated channel after all. And I think it's about time to consider the PS3 as being retro, right? Let me know down in the comments what you think about that. Anyway, with that said, let's get started with the PlayStation 1 games. And again, my cat is also joining in on this episode too. He's guarding the PS2 games, so let's get started. There he is. So Taito, tell us, what are your opinions on the PlayStation? He has no opinions. About anything. Apart from food. Anyway, let's get started. Let's see what we've got here on the PlayStation 1. So, as always, here's an overview of the shelf to begin with. Apologies for the glare, not really much I can do about that due to where the lights are. And there's a bunch of interesting ones at the front there too. So let's go down these shelves and pick out a few interesting games, a few of my favourites. So starting off on this one, immediately, it's going to be difficult to get these ones out because of the way they're balanced. Adventures of Alundra is an amazing Zelda-style 2D top-down adventure game. Again, got that one from Lee's Games too, a shop that I've brought up in the past on this room tour series actually. Really recommend this one. It's a lot more difficult than Zelda, but it's a really good game. Medieval as well is one of my favourites on the system. This is a great 3D platformer where you're basically going around a graveyard, doing various different levels and stuff. It's a really fun game, and the remake on the PS4 was great too. Now, this one's an interesting one. This is one that I think was a recommendation from someone else on YouTube, and I picked it up and I was having a great time with it. It's called World's Scariest Police Chasers. So if you enjoy sort of Need for Speed style games and you want something a little bit different, definitely recommend checking this one out. Need for Speed 3 is actually my favourite game in the old school style Need for Speed games at least. This one is just so good. There's just something about the controls on this game that just feel absolutely perfect. So if you want to try out one of the older Need for Speed titles, Hot Pursuit, the original one, is definitely the one to go for. Jade Cocoon is a great JRPG style game with a really interesting way of like raising characters, and the way the levels are arranged is very interesting too. And it has kind of a classic fantasy style to it, which is quite unique for the time. So really great game. I have got the sequel as well, which we'll get to in a little bit, but I haven't actually played it yet. But I really enjoyed my time with this one. In fact, I streamed it on Twitch and YouTube as well. So if you want to see me playing through this, then have a look on my website. I've actually got a VOD section on there now, so you can see my previous live streams, and that is definitely one to check out. There's some other Need for Speed games there as well. We have Porsche 2000, and up here we have Need for Speed 2, which isn't quite as good as 3 in my opinion, but it's still a fun game. Here's an amazing game, one of my favourites on the system for sure. This is the original Klonoa, of course, a very long-running 2.5D platforming series. This one was actually bought for me for my birthday by a friend at uni, so I was so glad to have that. And it's shot up in price as well, so prized possession for sure. Chrono Cross, a game that I haven't played as much as I should do. This is actually an American game, as you can see by the T for teen in the corner there, and the weird style of box and the fact that it says NTSC on the side. I'm a huge fan of Chrono Trigger, so when I got round to playing Chrono Cross, I was a little bit thrown off at how different it is, but maybe I should give it another go. Wild 9 is a game that I haven't played yet. This was a recommendation from someone that I met at the London Gaming Market a few shows back now, so I need to check this one out at some point soon. And there's the first Need for Speed game as well. Very different to the other games in the series. It's kind of a more simulation style game, but it's still fun. There's a game, again, that I haven't played as much as I should do. A lot of people really love the Siphon Filter series, so I need to check that one out more in the future. Some other good ones here. Metal Slug is obviously always a great game, and this version is, I think, an updated version of Metal Slug 2 with some extra levels and stuff. Potentially, correct me if I'm wrong there. Here's one of my favourite games for the system, Spyro 2 Gateway to Glimmer. Absolutely love this. The pinnacle of the Spyro series in my opinion. Amazing game. Castlevania Chronicles is interesting. This one's actually a port or sort of a reimagining of the SharpX 68000 Castlevania game, I believe. So it's a linear Castlevania game, which I really enjoy, so very happy to have that one. And then here's the next stack of games. Let's take a quick look down there and we can cover some of the more interesting titles. So let's start off here with The Legend of Dragoon, which is a game that I've been recommended to play for a long time. I haven't got around to it just yet, and I was kind of worried because I know that a lot of the game revolves around a battle system that's kind of like a rhythm game style thing. We have to press the button at a certain time, but a lot of modern TVs introduce a bit of input lag, so I wanted to play it on the CRT to make sure that I could have the proper experience. For some reason there's a RetroBreak card there, so pause the video right now and scan that if it still works. Let's see what else is here. Another game I haven't played yet. There's a lot here that are on my list to play. I've always been really curious about how the Digimon games play, and this was one that was recommended to me. And I think I picked this one up in York, in Sore Thumbs, so definitely want to play this one at some point. Rage Racer is a fantastic arcade-style racing game. Really, really fun. Of course, the Ridge Racer series in general is really good, but this is definitely one of the best ones. It has a more gritty style to it, but I really loved the level design. There's a lot of hills in this one compared to the others. Now, MDK here, I got this one based on how much I loved the Dreamcast game, and I have to say this one was kind of disappointing. It was very, very simple, quite fast-paced though. It was a fun shoot-'em-up, but it definitely didn't have the polish of the second game. There's another one of the Ridge Racer games, Ridge Racer Revolution. Tony Hawk's 2 is a classic. Obviously, the Dreamcast version is better in most regards, but this is probably one that most people played, so it's great to have that, and I love the Tony Hawk's games. There's another Klonoa game, a bit of a weird spin-off. Not really a huge fan of this, and I don't really know why it exists either, but it exists. And there's the last 3 games there, nothing too exciting in that stack. Although I believe Beyblades was one of the last games released for the PlayStation 1. There should be a date on there somewhere, yeah, 2003, which is crazy for a system that came out in 1995. Now here's the next stack. Obviously Rayman is an absolute classic. I already showed it off on the Saturn section, but here it is again on the PlayStation. Just incredible game. There's the original game in the Soul Calibur series, Soul Blade, which is really fun, and you can definitely see where a lot of the inspiration for Soul Calibur came from. It feels really good to play too, very impressed by this one. Let's see what else is interesting here. Obviously the original Tomb Raider is a classic. My copy of Tetris Plus is definitely seen better days. It's completely falling apart, but it's one of my favourite Tetris games. I really need to get this in a nicer box because that is just awful. I'm so sorry. Heart of Darkness is one of my favourite games for the system. This one's a great atmospheric 2D adventure game with loads of really cool FMV graphics. And just a really great gameplay system too. Here's the best game in the Crash Bandicoot series, Crash 2 Cortex Strikes Back. I do have the other 2 as well, but I don't have them in the box. I only have the loose disc, unfortunately, so I would like to try and rectify that at some point. And there's some more Worms games, and one of the games is outside of the box for some reason. So let's move some of these ones over now and take a look at what we've got here. So we have some of the Final Fantasy games. Again, they're on my list to play. I haven't played 9 just yet. I have played and finished 7, and I loved that one. Really, really great game, obviously. Don't really know much about what this one is. There's a bunch of games that I just seem to have for no apparent reason, so maybe I'll do a stream in the future where I play through some games that I've never even experienced before. Obviously, here's the classic Ridge Racer in the old style box, which is always cool to see. Absolute classic, although some of the other games on the system kind of beat it in terms of gameplay and in terms of course designs and things, but you can't really go wrong with the first one. There's the other Final Fantasy that I still have to play, and as you can see there, I actually ordered it from Chips, and they had my name on it too. 25 quid, not bad. It's on my list, I promise. Let's see what else we got here. Hogs of War, of course, they were working on a Kickstarter for a modern remake of the game, which unfortunately didn't go through, but this is a great game. If you liked Worms, then that's kind of a cool 3D version. I've not played this one before, one of the many Duke Nukem games. Here's another one that's seen better days as well. I don't really know what this one is either. Some sort of Tetris style puzzle game by the looks of it. Let's see what else we've got here. Probably a lot more games that I've never played. So I've never played Chase the Express. I don't even know what this is. If anyone can let me know in the comments, that would be good. It kind of looks like a Resident Evil style game. We also have Dino Crisis, which of course is another Resident Evil style game. And speaking of Resident Evil, after I finish this shelf, I'll show you our Resident Evil collection because that's all in Sarah's room at the minute. Here's one of the dancing stage games. I used to really enjoy playing these with the dance mat back in the day. Got no idea where the dance mat is now though, unfortunately. No, I remember this game belonged to my dad and he really enjoyed that. That's the Italian Job. And something that I wanted for a series that I'll be doing in the future about this game series in general, Blaster Master. This one's kind of a weird one. It's actually like a 3D tank game, so not really like the other Blaster Master games. So this will be interesting to check out for that retrospective. And there's another random Duke Nukem game that I've never played. Let me know which ones are actually worth playing. Maybe I'll give them a go at some point. And here's the next bunch of games. Micro Machines is always fun. This one's just as good as all the other ones. Now, I've had this game for a long time. I got it from GameStation for like 20p or something back in the day. And I think it's got fairly expensive now. Again, no idea what it's about. I've never actually played it. So if anyone knows Hell Knight, let me know whether it's worth checking out. I'm sure it's like 200 quid, which is just insane. I used to really love playing the music games. I was a big fan of EJ, so loved making my own tracks. There's the original Spyro the Dragon. There's one of the Bomberman games. Bomberman, it's actually Bomberman even though it says Fantasy Race because they put the wrong disc in there. Ape Escape's really good, one of the first games to use dual analog controls, and it's just really fun and colourful as well. Never played this one, don't know what this is about. Rascal by Psygnosis. Let me know if this is worth playing. It looks like a 3D platformer, maybe something similar to what you'd get on the N64, so maybe I'd like that. There's some more Need for Speed games, Porsche 2000 and Moto Racer 2. And there's another one, Need for Speed Porsche Challenge. It doesn't say Need for Speed, but it is part of the same series. As far as I'm aware, there's one of the Strike games, not really a big fan of them. Here's Grandia. I am a big fan of this one. This is one of my favourite RPGs of all time. Just love the style of this so much, and I love all the characters too. This one I've got no idea what it is. Ubik, no clue whatsoever. Didn't even know I had that one. And here's another JRPG that I haven't played just yet, but I need to rectify that at some point, and that is Breath of Fire 4. I'm a big fan of the ones on the SNES. And then over here we have the best game in the Ridge Racer series, Ridge Racer Type 4. And the fun multiplayer Crash Bandicoot game there. This is another one that I've been curious to check out for a while, but I've never got around to it. Again, don't really know much about it. It kind of looks like Myst, maybe that sort of game. Here's an interesting one. This is a game that a lot of people tell me I should play, and I've had it for a long time. And I know it's set in Wales, which is really unique, so maybe I'll check that out at some point. And then to end off the PS1 games here, we have another dancing game. We have this, no idea what that is, and another one of the Siphon Filter games as well. So that was my PS1 collection, at least the games that I have in boxes on the shelf. So let me know what you thought of that. So that was my PS1 collection. Let me know what you think is missing from my collection and what games you think I should play based on the ones that I've got and haven't experienced just yet down in the comments below. That would be really good to know. And before we move on to the PS2 games, I'll show you the Resident Evil collection, which is in Sarah's room. She's not here at the minute, so let's go and have a look at the shelf. So yeah, I let her take all the Resident Evil games to put on this shelf. So there's the PlayStation 1 games right there. And here's the rest of them. She's a big fan of the series, so I thought it'd be cool to put them all in one place. There's a few that we're missing, and up there we've got some of the figures from the special editions too, which is really cool. And Leon there as well, and a few other things. There's a liquor. So yeah, big fan of the Resident Evil series, but it's all here in this room, and there from my previous video. There's one of the games on the Saturn, if it will focus. There's the first game on the Saturn. We also have Code Veronica there on the Dreamcast, and probably the rarest one here. Thanks to Quang for selling me this for a great price a few years back, Resident Evil Gaiden for the Game Boy Color. Very happy to have that. And the N64 one's really good too. Definitely recommend checking that one out. So here's my PS2 games. Kind of just like the PS1, it's a weird mix of games that I really love and games that I don't know why I own, and I have no recollection of ever picking up. So let's begin as we're going through the shelf here, and I'll again pick out some of my favourites. So Freak Out is a standout title in this side of things. This is another game by Treasure, so if you saw my last video on my Sega games, you'll know why I love them as a developer, but this one is a very different game, and yeah, features some very, very strange cartoony physics. Let's just leave it at that. But yeah, really, really weird and interesting one. Extreme G Racing Association is great. I actually picked that one up for all of £1 from a great game shop in Stafford when I was there at uni called Discs and Discs. It's a really cool futuristic racer. I just love that entire series, it's really fun. Zone of the Enders is great, 1 and 2, they're both fantastic games. Soul Calibur 3, obviously, a great follow-up to the other games in the series. Not my favourite personally, but I know a lot of people really enjoy that one. There's one of the Burnout games. I'm a huge fan of the Burnout series, and this is one of my favourites in the series. Ratchet & Clank, I've never actually played. I know, blasphemy, right? Someone who's so big into platformers has never played Ratchet & Clank. I need to change that one day. There's Grandia 2 again. Like I said on the Dreamcast video, one of my favourite games. Super Monkey Ball Deluxe. A very bad version of Super Monkey Ball. If you're looking to get into Monkey Ball, get it on the Xbox, not on the PlayStation. There's one of the iToy games. The weird PS2 version of Sonic Unleashed. The PS2 was kind of weird because it had a lot of like Wii games without motion controls, which is very strange. There we go. One of the, if not the worst Mega Man game ever made, Mega Man X7. If you know, you know. We love Katamari, one of the best games ever made. Love the Katamari series, it's so colourful and unique. There's not really anything else like it. There's another one of the Klonoa games, Klonoa 2, my personal favourites in the series. Brilliant game. There's one of my favourite games of all time, Mana Khemia Alchemists of Alrevis Academy. There's some other great games, Silent Hill 2 and Final Fantasy X. In fact, all of these are really good because I actually included them all in my top PS2 games video recently. So if you want to hear my opinions about all of these, then go ahead and watch that video. Now we're on the next shelf down, let's see what catches our eye here. There's Jade Cocoon 2, like I said, I have this one but I haven't played it yet. That will change at some point soon. Really curious to see how it differs to the PlayStation 1 game. I was very disappointed by this one. This is Astro Boy, one of my favourite games on the GBA, and I thought this one would be just as good, but it's actually a really bad and generic like 3D flying game. Really didn't enjoy it much at all. Test Drive Unlimited is a really good racing game, and I miss Game Station so much. Look at all those pre-owned stickers there. So sad. And not sure where that pre-owned sticker's from. Maybe that was from Game. Again, another weird Wii port to the PlayStation 2. There's MDK2 again, a very slightly enhanced version for the PS2 compared to the Dreamcast one. Let's see what else. The original Time Splitters, that's an interesting game. So the Time Splitters series is one of my favourite first-person shooters. This one though is very, very basic compared to the second and third ones. It's interesting to see where they got their start, but yeah, there was definitely a lot of work still to do. Syvaria next is a really cool vertical scrolling shooter. Again, this is one that I had on the Dreamcast. I showed it off in a previous video, but this one is just as good, of course. This is an interesting one. It doesn't work, unfortunately, but this came with like an actual ball that you can hold, and you were supposed to be able to use it to move through these different mazes, but I couldn't get it to work for some reason, so kind of disappointed about that. Here's a game I haven't played that I know is very good from what I've heard online anyway, so I need to check this game out. And this series in general. I know there was one for the PS3 as well, which I also need to check out. There's another vertical scrolling shooter, Castle Shikigami. There's one of the Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy XII. Again, not played it. I know I need to rectify that. And the same here with Dragon Quest, Journey of the Cursed King as well. Here's some other great RPGs. I've played and finished this one. This is Art and Alico. And I've also got all the other Art and Alico and Atelier games there. So there's Atelier Iris 2 and 3. There's one of my favourite games in the Burnout series, Burnout 3 Takedown, with the best soundtrack in any game. There's some SSX games, Shadow of the Colossus, absolutely love that, as I'm sure everyone else who owns a PS2 also loves. Outrun 2006 is also fantastic. SSX Tricky is potentially the best game in that series, and Ridge Racer 5, I really enjoy that too. So let's move down now onto the next shelf, and as you can see that one begins my PS3 collection as well, so let's see what else we've got here. Road Trip Adventure is a game that was recommended to me by someone at work, and I played it for a little bit. It seems kind of interesting, like a racing RPG, so really, really cool. I need to play that one some more. Shocks is another one of my favourite games by EA Sports Big, again, like the SSX series. Basically SSX in rally cars. Here's one that I've always wanted to play, but I don't know when I'll have the time to get around to it. The graphics in this look amazing. Look how cool that looks. Really need to check that one out at some point. Seems like a running theme here, but Shadow of Memories is another one that I really need to play at some point. I was very, very curious about what this game's like. It just looks so fascinating from that box art. Burnout 2, my personal favourite game in the Burnout series. Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree with that. I know a lot of people are surprised when they hear that I prefer Burnout 2 over 3. Lumines is a great game, and the PS2 version's no exception, really fun. There's another Burnout game, Burnout Dominator. One of the more modern, well, I say modern, it's still like 20-something years old at this point, but one of the Wipeout games that aren't on the PlayStation 1, let's say that. It's a really great game. Let's see what else is here. Haven is an interesting game that's like a mix of loads of different genres. Theme Park World, I always really loved this one as a kid. Being able to actually walk around the park in 3D and ride on the rides was just so much fun, so I really enjoyed that one. Barnyard, obviously, 10 out of 10 game. Best game on the system by far. Let me know if you agree with that. Some games seem to be missing because I do have the PS2 Kingdom Hearts games, but they're not here for some reason. So let's see what else is here. Myst 3. Love the Myst series, really great atmosphere. And I'm very interested in getting the new Riven remake as well that's just come out. It looks really cool. So now here's a look at some of the PS3 games there. And here's the rest of them down here. And again, there might be more, but I just don't know where they are at the minute. So let's have a look on the PS3 shelf and see what's good here. And you can't really see very much because of the lighting conditions, unfortunately. Castlevania Lords of Shadow. I have mixed opinions about this game. On one hand, I think it's really cool. On the other hand, I feel like it doesn't feel like Castlevania at all. Here's a great game, Ni no Kuni. One of my favourite games from back then. I was a massive fan of Studio Ghibli, so I was really excited when that came out. Dirt 2 is potentially the best rally game ever made. Really love this one, and the newer games do not hold a candle to this. It's really good. Arcana Heart 3, that's a great all-girls fighting game. I remember when I first played this at MCM, and everyone was like getting really excited about all the characters and stuff, so I had to pick that one up. And here's the bottom shelf, so let's see what we've got here. Sony's weird answer to Smash Brothers, and I got it for £1.99. PlayStation All-Stars. Really just a cash grab by Sony to try and cash in on the success of Smash, I think. Not a huge fan. Little Big Planet was fun, although I wasn't really a big fan of the physics in that game. The Dead Space games were obviously amazing. There's Dead Space 1 and 3 there. 2 must be around here somewhere as well. Atelier Rorona is one of my favourite games in the Atelier series. Really love this game and the soundtrack and everything that goes along with it. In fact, I really love the PS3 in general. Child of Eden was another one of my favourites at the time, and it featured 3D support as well. And I did play it in 3D back then because I had a 3D TV and I really loved playing the games in 3D. And I'm kind of sad that that technology died off. Let me know what you think in the comments. Here's 2 other heavy hitters, really great story-based games. Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain, of course. Classics for the system. We also have Need for Speed. Not the best game in the NFS series, honestly. There's a random PS1 game there, Miss Pac-Man. That one has great soundtrack, by the way. Best game on the system, Sonic 06. No, the less said about that, the better. Here's some fun racing games. We have MotorStorm. Really cool launch title, or very near the launch anyway. Ridge Racer 7 was a great entry in the Ridge Racer series. I wasn't a huge fan of this one, Ridge Racer Unbounded. I feel like they kind of just went off the rails with that one a little bit. And potentially my favourite game in the Need for Speed series, the original, well, not the original, the third Hot Pursuit game actually. I wasn't really a huge fan of this SSX sequel, to be honest though. And here's another great racing game, Split Second, by Disney of all people. Really cool game, love that one. There's one of the God of War games. I remember playing this before it came out at Gamescom, making me feel old. Orange Box, obviously fantastic if you enjoy Valve's games. Eternal Sonata, one of my favourite JRPGs of all time. There's the Xbox version of Monkey Ball Deluxe, as I was mentioning Monkey Ball earlier. And if anyone's wondering why I don't have any Xbox games here, it's not because I don't own any, they're actually all up in the loft, just because I didn't have any room left on the shelves, and I prefer PlayStation over Xbox. Let's see what else we've got. Silent Hill Homecoming, Aliens, Hyperdimension Neptunia, which was very popular back then. Skyrim, everyone has to own a copy of Skyrim, and Terraria. I think a lot of those I got really cheap when Game was getting rid of their PS3 games. The Evil Within is great. I actually went to a launch event for that as well. Tales of Graces. I haven't actually played this one. That was actually Sarah's copy. I think she enjoyed it though. And then let's see what we've got here. Driver Parallel Lines. That's a really fun game. I did get a special edition of that with the car as well. Tomb Raider is obviously a very important game for the time, like a very, very modern feeling game, even though it was released back then. I remember we loved this game so much, I stayed up all night and played it all the way through. Burnout Paradise is great. There's another copy of Dead Space 3 because we enjoyed playing that in multiplayer. The Walking Dead Telltale series, they were really good for the time. RIP, Telltale. Sonic Generations, of course, fantastic. And it is getting a remake very, very soon, so I'm looking forward to that, with the added Shadow the Hedgehog bits on there. Project Diva, of course, a massive fan of the Project Diva series, although that should actually be with my Japanese games, which are over here. So I always do this in every episode, try and find some space for Japanese games. Let's see what else is here. A very disappointing game for a lot of people, Duke Nukem Forever. What a letdown after so many years in development. There's another one of the Atelier games, Meru. There's Sega Rally. Not really a huge fan of that one, I'd much prefer the originals. There's the weird modern version of Prince of Persia where you can't die. Don't really know what they were thinking with that one, it's just very strange. There's the original Dirt, there's another MotorStorm. There's the weird gritty remake of Bionic Commando, got that for 50p. Final Fantasy 13, got mixed feelings about that, but you know, for $1.99 you can't really go wrong. These prices are just insane, you would never be able to buy games this cheap anymore. Lollipop Chainsaw is obviously a classic, and that's getting a remake very soon too. Let's see what else is over here. We have another MotorStorm game. Love the MotorStorm series. Alien Isolation was really great, obviously, and it still feels very modern too. The PS3 kind of, in my opinion, kind of skirts the line of retro and modern, because a lot of these games, I don't think of them as being retro games at all. Like, there's another great arcade-style racer, Blur, was fantastic. Really enjoyed that one. Resonance of Fate was an interesting one, kind of a real-time JRPG with gun battles and stuff. Very complicated battle system. There's one of the Gran Turismo games, obviously all great games in their respective series. There's Katamari Forever, love the Katamari series, that's one of my favourites. Lost Planet is fantastic, especially the first two. El Shaddai is a good one, that one got a remake recently as well. And there's the worst Aliens game ever made. Never actually played this, I just picked it up because it was dirt cheap. Obviously a classic that still has the industry in a stronghold like 10 plus years later. Probably even longer than that these days, but yeah, The Last of Us was a very important release. Whether you like it or not, it was important. There's Dead Space 2, another copy of Lollipop Chainsaw. Uncharted, I'm not sure where the other Uncharted games are actually, that's another series that seems to be missing. And the final game in this video is Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, which was a great game, and the developers actually came to uni to talk about how they actually made it, which was really cool. And there is some other stuff, but I'm going to leave it here now. Perhaps in the future I can cover my loose Game Boy collection, which is what's in these. And behind them is all my Wii U games, which, yeah, maybe I'll save that for a future video as well, because this tour has gone on far too long now. And there was also all these Switch games as well, which I'll also cover in the future, I think. So thank you so much for watching. So there we go, that was my entire game room. Thank you for sticking with me over the past month as I've gone through every shelf in this room and basically told you all of my favourite games and which ones I still need to play. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen the other videos just yet, then click the playlist up there and watch all of those, and now we'll be back to regular content again very soon. So thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it. That is all for now. I'll see you all again very soon. Goodbye.